The Imperial transport ship cut through the void, leaving trails of blue light behind. Inside, the humans sat in silence, watching the stars drift past. They were being escorted to Zathra, a frontier world that had been burning with rebellion for 10 years. The Empire had tried everything: armies, weapons, and fear. Nothing worked. Captain Lewis leaned back in his seat and glanced at his team. "Remember," he said, "we're not here to fight their war. We're here to show them another way." The soldier, Ramirez, nodded. "If they let us." Dr. Hara smiled slightly. "They will. Curiosity is stronger than pride. Even emperors can't resist it." When they landed, the humans stepped out onto a planet scarred by conflict. The air smelled of metal and smoke. Above them, the sun was dim behind clouds of dust. Alien soldiers in shining armor watched as they arrived, their weapons ready. The human delegation was escorted to a command tent where the Empire's general, a massive insectoid alien named Kravath, awaited them. Kravath towered over them. "So," he said with a deep hiss, "you are the laughing creatures who dared to mock the Emperor." Lewis smiled calmly. "We prefer to call it sharing perspective." Kravath didn't laugh. "The Emperor believes you can solve this war better than our legions. I doubt it. The rebels are cowards who hide in caves. They refuse to submit." Lewis looked around the map projected in the air. "You've been fighting them for a decade?" "Yes," the general said proudly. "We have crushed their armies many times, but they keep returning." "Then maybe you're fighting the wrong war," Lewis said softly. Kravath tilted his head. "There is only one kind of war, victory and defeat." Lewis shook his head. "No, there's also understanding. If you never ask why they fight, you'll never stop them." Kravath snorted.
"You think words will win?"
"No," Lewis said. "But they can stop the need for bullets." The general growled but said nothing more. He assigned them a small hovercraft and a squad of soldiers to escort them to the warfront. The humans loaded their small equipment: scanners, drones, and a portable translator array. Within hours, they were flying over burnt forests and ruined cities. Down below, the humans saw villages, small clusters of huts where both rebels and civilians lived together. None of them looked like the bloodthirsty monsters the Empire described. They looked tired, scared, hungry. Dr. Hara pointed. "They're not soldiers. They're survivors," Ramirez frowned. "And the Empire's been bombing them for years." Lewis nodded. "That's what happens when fear rules instead of reason." They landed near one of the villages. Imperial soldiers surrounded the area, nervous and alert. When the humans stepped forward, the rebels came out of hiding, thin, ragged beings with glowing yellow eyes. The humans raised their hands to show peace. One of the rebels, an older alien with scarred skin, shouted, "Why have you come? To burn more homes?" Lewis smiled gently. "No, we're humans. We came to listen." The rebel blinked. "Listen?" "Yes, we heard there's been fighting for many years. We want to understand why." The rebels looked at one another, confused. No one had ever asked them that before. Slowly, the older one stepped forward. "We fight because the Empire took our rivers, our lands. They tax our food. We begged for fairness. They sent armies instead." Lewis nodded. "So it's not about power. It's about survival." The rebel lowered his weapon. You believe us?" Lewis smiled. "Of course. Where we come from, we've fought for freedom too. We learned that peace doesn't come from fear." The conversation lasted for hours. The humans listened to the rebels' stories, took notes, and offered small pieces of advice. How to negotiate. How to communicate through neutral channels. When they returned to the Empire's camp that night, General Kravath was waiting, furious. "You spoke to them?" he shouted. "That is treason!" Lewis stood firm. "No, it's logic. You've been killing your own chance for peace." Kravath's mandibles clicked angrily. "You insult the Empire." Lewis sighed. "Maybe someone needs to." The general raised his claw, but before he could speak further, a message arrived from the Emperor himself. The Emperor wanted daily updates. He was watching every move. Kravath growled and turned away. "Fine. Do your listening. But when they betray you, do not expect my soldiers to save you." Over the next few days, the humans visited more villages. They talked to both sides, and rebels and Imperial commanders. They didn't give orders or threats. They asked questions. And slowly, things began to change. The rebels started to lower their weapons. Imperial soldiers stopped attacking without orders. Dr. Hara helped build small water filters for the villages. Ramirez taught both sides how to build defensive shelters together against dust storms. For the first time in years, there was silence instead of gunfire. News spread quickly. The laughing humans were changing the battlefield without shooting a single bullet. Even General Cravath was forced to notice. He called Lewis one evening and said, "You confuse my soldiers." "They no longer wish to fight," Lewis smiled. "Good, maybe now they'll start thinking." Cravath stared at him for a long moment. Then, to everyone's shock, the alien general made a sound and a rough, low laugh. "You humans, you are dangerous in ways I do not understand." Lewis chuckled. "We get that a lot." Days turned into weeks. Eventually, the humans arranged a meeting between the rebel leaders and the Empire's regional governors. The atmosphere was tense at first, but the humans kept the conversation calm and honest. There were no grand speeches, no threats, just questions and a shared desire to stop the endless suffering. After long hours, both sides agreed to a truce. For the first time in a decade, the skies above Zathra were quiet. When word reached the Emperor, he didn't believe it at first. "Peace without victory?" he said in disbelief. "Yes, Your Majesty," said his advisor. "The humans ended the war. They say both sides now trade food and medicine." The Emperor leaned back in his throne, without fear, without force. He sat in silence for a long time. Then he whispered, "Bring them home." A few days later, the humans were back on the imperial capital world. This time, the throne room was not filled with laughter. It was filled with wonder. Every noble, every general, and every courtier wanted to see the creatures who had stopped a war with nothing but words and smiles. The Emperor stood as they entered. "You have done what I thought impossible. Tell me, human, how?" Lewis bowed slightly. "We didn't do anything special. We just stopped treating war like a game to win." The Emperor frowned. "You speak in riddles," Lewis smiled. "Your empire fights to dominate. Ours learned to survive. There's a difference. You build monuments to power. We build lessons from mistakes." The Emperor considered his words. "And yet you laughed at us." "Yes," Lewis said, still smiling. "Because we saw ourselves in you. Long ago, humanity believed it could control everything, land, people, even nature. We built empires too, and they all fell. But we learned something each time. No rule lasts forever. So now when we see someone make the same mistake, we can't help but laugh. It's not mockery. It's recognition." For a moment, the Emperor said nothing. Then he began to laugh, softly, then louder. The sound echoed through the hall, shocking everyone. "You are bold," he said between laughs. "Bold and foolish. And yet perhaps wise," Lewis smiled. "Maybe just human." The Emperor looked at him with respect. "You have changed something in me. I have ruled with fear for too long. Perhaps it is time to rule with wisdom." He turned to the entire court. "Let it be known, the humans of Earth are not subjects. They are guests and teachers. Their laughter has shown us our pride." The hall erupted in murmurs of disbelief, but no one dared to argue. The humans had done what no army could. They had made the Emperor question himself. As they prepared to leave the palace, Dr. Hara whispered, "We actually did it." Lewis smiled. "We didn't conquer an empire. We reminded it that it's mortal." Ramirez laughed. "Think the galaxy's ready for more humans?" Lewis looked out the window at the stars. "Maybe not, but it'll learn." When their small ship lifted off, the Emperor watched it disappear into the sky. His advisors approached carefully. "Do you truly trust them, Majesty? These humans?" The Emperor smiled faintly. "Trust, no, but I respect them. They reminded me that even empires must learn to laugh." Far away aboard their ship, the humans shared a quiet moment. Patel leaned back in his seat and said, "It's strange. We didn't fire a single shot." Dr. Hara nodded. "Sometimes peace is louder than war." Lewis gazed at the stars, his expression calm. "We didn't win anything today. We just planted a seed. Maybe someday the Empire will understand." Ramirez chuckled. "And when they forget?" Lewis grinned. "Then we'll remind them." With a laugh, their ship drifted into the darkness of space, small and humble among the shining fleets of the galaxy. But somewhere behind them, an empire that once demanded obedience now carried the faint echo of laughter. A reminder that humanity had come, seen and changed everything without raising a weapon. For in the end, it wasn't power that made humanity strong. It was the courage to laugh, even when standing before an empire. They scanned Earth's warship and immediately understood their fate. Part 2. The galaxy was never the same after the Valiant incident. News of one human warship destroying 30 Vorthan warships spread faster than light. Across the star systems, empires that had once thought themselves untouchable suddenly felt small and fragile. On Earth, the celebration was quiet, but determined. Captain Marcus Hale stood before the Earth Defense Council. His eyes were steady, but his voice carried weight. "We have shown the galaxy our strength," he said. "But power is only useful if it protects life. Fear alone is not enough. We must be ready always, but we must also lead with restraint." The council members nodded. The Valiant had not only survived the encounter, it had changed humanity's place in the universe. They began planning more Guardian-class warships, ships built not to conquer, but to defend Earth and its allies. Far from Earth, in the remains of the Vorthan fleet, Commander Taras faced questions he could not answer. His superior officers demanded revenge. "Do you realize what you've done, Taras?" hissed Admiral Croth. "One ship has humiliated our entire empire. Our fleets lie in ruin." Taras remained calm, though inside his mind raced. He knew the humans were not cruel. They had destroyed only what threatened them, and even then with precision. No debris, no fire, no unnecessary destruction. "They are not monsters," Taras said quietly. "They are something else. Something we cannot fight with fleets alone." "Coward," Croth shouted. "You will answer for this." Taras clenched his fists. He had no interest in punishment. Instead, he made a decision that would change the course of Vorthan history. He would speak to the humans directly. Meanwhile, the Valiant traveled deeper into Vorthan space. Its crew remained alert. Every system they passed was quiet. No empire dared challenge them. The silence was not peace, it was fear. Commander Lee approached Captain Hale in the bridge. "Sir, I have intercepted Vorthan signals. Commander Taras is requesting direct communication. He wants to meet." Hale raised an eyebrow. "He's brave. Or desperate. Or smart," Lee added. Hale nodded slowly. "Prepare the diplomatic protocols. This is our chance to turn fear into understanding." Argus, the AI, spoke softly. "Captain, they will know our power, but they will also know our will. How we act now will define humanity and the galaxy." "Exactly," Hale said. "Let's show them who we really are." A small Vorthan delegation arrived aboard the Valiant. The human crew watched cautiously as Taras stepped onto the ship. His green armor was marked with scratches from his last battle, and his eyes betrayed exhaustion and fear, yet there was also respect. Hale greeted him formally. "Commander Taras." "Welcome aboard the Valiant." Taras bowed slightly. "Captain Hale, I come as an enemy who has learned too late to be a friend, if you will allow it." Hale motioned to the bridge seats. "Sit. We have much to discuss." Taras spoke first. "When we scanned your ship, we thought we understood your power. We were wrong. The energy readings alone would have made you untouchable. But it was not the weapon that frightened me. It was your restraint." Hale leaned back. "We have seen what power without control does. We have learned to use strength carefully, or it destroys everything we hold dear. You have seen what we can do when we defend ourselves, but we will not attack unless necessary." Taras's four eyes widened. "Your species respects life even when you can destroy entire fleets?" "Yes," Hale said simply. "We choose to survive, not to conquer. That is our rule. We hope others will learn from it, but if they do not, we will protect ourselves." After hours of conversation, Taras made a proposal. "I ask you to consider peace, Captain." "My empire. It is fractured now. Many wish to attack, but they do not understand your methods. You have shown them what humans are capable of. I do not wish to die or see my people destroyed. Let us make a treaty." Hale considered the words carefully. He could destroy the Vorthan Empire entirely. Every system, every fleet, every city, gone with one strike. Yet he did not see the value in total destruction. "Peace is difficult," Hale said, "but if we can teach restraint, we can avoid endless wars. I accept your proposal on one condition. All species must understand that Earth defends itself and that attacking us brings only ruin." Taras nodded. "Agreed." The treaty was sent across the galaxy. Other empires watched closely as the humans and Vorthans negotiated. Messages were shared, and slowly, one by one, alien civilizations reconsidered their plans for conquest. Humanity was not seeking empires. They were seeking security, but the demonstration of their power ensured survival for all who chose peace. In the following months, Earth became a central hub for diplomacy. Humans acted as mediators, using the Valiant and other Guardian-class ships to prevent conflicts. The galaxy, once full of war, began to experience a fragile peace, one built on respect and restraint rather than fear alone. Captain Hale often walked alone on the Valiant, looking out at the stars. He remembered the first scan, the first encounter, and the silence that followed the beam of energy that erased the Vorthan fleet. He felt pride, but also responsibility. Argus spoke from the intercom. "Captain, reports indicate that galactic leaders now refer to this period as the Age of Understanding. Humans are seen as protectors." Hale nodded. "Yes, Argus, but understanding is not guaranteed. We must always be vigilant. Power without control is useless. We must lead by example, not by fear." Argus paused. "Captain, you have changed the galaxy." Hale smiled faintly. "Perhaps. But only because we chose restraint over destruction. Only because we remembered what it means to be human." Years passed. The Valiant continued its voyages beyond known space. Its name became a symbol of humanity's strength, wisdom, and compassion. Young cadets from multiple species studied the ship, learning how one vessel and its crew had altered galactic history. Commander Taras, once a feared enemy, became a friend and ambassador. He often spoke of the day they scanned the human warship and realized their fate. They were never monsters, he told his students. They were humans. And in that moment they became the rulers of their own destiny, not through fear but through choice. In the quiet of deep space, the Valiant glided onward, its hull reflecting distant starlight. Captain Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, looking toward new systems and new possibilities. "They'll test us again," he said softly. Argus replied, "And we will be ready." Hale nodded. "Yes, but we will always remember. Strength without restraint is meaningless. Power without wisdom is dangerous. Humanity must show both." The stars stretched out before them, endless and silent. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Earth was no longer a planet to conquer. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not as tyrants, but as guardians wise and unstoppable. And so, the Valiant continued, carrying with it the promise of Earth, that even in a vast and dangerous galaxy, power could be tempered with restraint, and that strength alone was never enough to ensure survival. The legend of the Valiant had begun, and the galaxy would never forget it.